when she was born, we were actually told she never walk, talk, or have quality of life. Walked into Shriners not knowing Shriners at all, and we were welcomed. I actually consider Shriners as part of our family now. They helped her walk. They even took it. They knew she was going to be in a wedding. She had just started to take a few steps, and her therapist knew she was going to be in a wedding as a flower girl. And they created a way to tie her basket to her because she can't use her right hand, and was able to throw the petals, and she did it in therapy. Everyone was crying that day, and that has changed her world.
Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. Here, our purpose and passion are simple: to highlight the incredible nonprofits that make our communities stronger. Each episode is a chance for these organizations to tell their story in their words, sharing not just what they do, but why it matters to the people they serve, to their supporters, and to all of us who believe in the power of community. Through podcasting, we hope to amplify their voices, inspire connection, and give them one more tool to reach the hearts of donors, partners, and neighbors alike. This work is made possible through the generous support of our founding partners. CapTrust, offering fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations serving Sacramento, Roseville, and Folsom, and online at captrust.com. And Western Health Advantage, a local not-for-profit health plan that believes healthcare is more than coverage. It's about caring. From supporting the American Heart Association to making arts and wellness accessible for all, Western Health Advantage truly delivers healthcare with heart. Learn more at westernhealth.com. I'm proud to welcome our newest partner, CORE, Executive Leadership and Comprehensive Support Services, working in it so you can work on it. Visit cxore.com. I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of incredible people and organizations through this work. But every once in a while, a conversation reminds me exactly why we created the Nonprofit Podcast Network. This is one of those moments. Today, I'm speaking with Senior Director of Philanthropy, Alan Anderson, who has spent 18 years helping fuel the mission of Shriners Children's Northern California, and with Lindsay Wilder and her daughter Taylor, whose journey is nothing short of remarkable. Born at 26 weeks, surviving a pulmonary hemorrhage, navigating hydrocephalus, enduring 25 brain surgeries, and later a stroke. And yet here she is, smiling, dancing, running, drumming, and dreaming big right alongside her twin sister, Pelly. I'm humbled by her. Shriners didn't just provide the care. They became family. They helped her walk again. They gave her tools to thrive. And they continue to open doors for thousands of children facing the most complex medical challenges. Let's explore what makes Shriners so unique, beyond the unwavering commitment to treat children regardless of a family's ability to pay. You'll also hear what unrestricted funding really means for a children's hospital and why it's the quiet engine behind life-changing outcomes like Taylor's. This is a story of hope, belief, generosity, and the extraordinary things that happen when a community rallies around its kids. Alan Anderson, Lindsay Wilder, welcome to and Taylor Wilder, welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Alan, I can't think of a better team to tell the story of Shriners here in Sacramento than the two of you. And you've been with the organization now over 18 years, my friend.
18 years. It goes fast.
Yes, it does. I remember meeting you.
Yes.
It's been quite a journey over that 18 years. Tell us a little bit about what drew you to the organization in the first place and what keeps you inspired after 18 years.
So there are really two simple answers that are really allied. What drew me to Shriners Children's was knowing that the money we were raising was actually directly paying for the health care that was provided children. And then some of that also goes into research. But at the end of the day, we were actually providing health care to kids. End of story. It wasn't a pass-throughs. It wasn't academic. It was literally making a difference in the lives of children who were coming to the hospital. And then what inspires me every day, children like Taylor, families like the Wilder family, they remind us every day these are the human stories that are touched by what people choose to do with their generous donations.
And Lindsay, tell us what brought you to Shriners, because you're the other part of the story. We have the administration side of it, but you're the recipient side of it.
Taylor, at 7 years old, had a stroke in the operating room. She has hydrocephalus, was in for a shunt revision. The stroke took her whole right side, and she was transferred to Shriners for rehab. And she started physical therapy and occupational therapy at Shriners. Not going to lie, it was hard for her at first, but they kept pushing her. And she started walking 4 months into therapy. Without Shriners, she wouldn't be walking.
Mm-hmm. And now Taylor is a twin to Pelly, who happens to be in studio with us as well, right?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the orientation, because at birth is where you recognize the problem, correct?
Yes. The twins were born at 26 weeks, 6 days. Way too early.
Which is really early, yeah.
Really early. And Taylor was twin B. Twin B doesn't do as well born early. She actually suffered a pulmonary hemorrhage within hours of being born. And at 3 weeks, they discovered she had a massive brain bleed, which caused hydrocephalus. And so she has a shunt from her ventricle, drains into above her stomach. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, shunts fail often or get infected. She's actually had 25 brain surgeries now. So her journey has been crazy and scary, but she is doing amazing. She's talking, walking, trying to run again, does dance. She beat all the odds.
You are amazing. We're going to tell a little more of your story in just a little bit, too. And I think you're probably going to give us a few words, too, right?
I don't know about that.
Alan, a lot of people think of the Shriners as the guy in the funny little hats, riding the go-karts and the mini bikes in a parade. But there's so much more to the organization. Can you give us a brief history of the hospital here in Sacramento and really what it represents?
Absolutely. So the funny guys with hats are really why the organization was founded. So that fraternity, the early members wrote all the checks that paid for the hospital operations. Our first hospital in 1923 was the fourth one in the system. Shriners funded everything. We moved here in 97 because it was an opportunity to really build a multidisciplinary hospital capable of so much more, in an affiliation with UC Davis. Shriners continue to be involved, but it really is a community endeavor. We depend on a generous community to make what we do possible. And when you consider just what you've heard of Taylor's story, we treat kids who have been born either with the most complex conditions or who have suffered some of the most traumatic injuries. And we're able to help not only them think what their future can be, but we help the families also think of that. We look at these kids as so full of possibilities and potential. And that's because the smart people who work at the hospitals have been trained for this. Last year we helped more than 12,000 unique kids, which was that each one of those kids represents a family and a neighborhood. And that's all been made possible by generosity started by a fraternity who are still involved, but really represents a generous community.
And I know there's a perception that it used to be just burn victims initially, but now it is so much more. It's CP, it's functional movement for children with disabilities in so many different ways. Can you expand on that a little bit in terms of the scope of the service that the hospital provides?
So I think, and one of the things that happened, so when we moved to Sacramento in 97, we were the first multidisciplinary hospital in the Shriners system. Burns was new to the West Coast at the Sacramento location. Mm-hmm. Our history in Sacramento and San Francisco was we were only orthopedics. So we treated a lot of kids who had polio. We also treated kids with all kinds of spine conditions, limb differences. Here in Sacramento, orthopedics has also grown into neuromusculoskeletal conditions. So that can be cerebral palsy, spina bifida. Burns, obviously. We do cleft lip. We also do reconstructive plastic surgery. And then our spinal cord injury rehab program has now become a full acute inpatient rehab program, which includes kids who've suffered traumatic brain injuries. Traumatic brain injuries can be brain bleeds. It can also be near drownings. Anytime there's been an oxygen depletion or something with the brains. And the scope has grown really not only in response to what the community needs, but what is possible. As healthcare advances, there's so much more that we're able to do. And we're a part of pushing those thresholds. But we're also a part of learning at what's needed and learning from others in the field and bringing that to kids all over California.
I was just going to ask, what is the geometry or geography that you cover?
So most of the patients, ironically, come within 100 miles, which is really the population centers for Northern California. But we treat kids from throughout the state because if you have a need and we can provide it, we will care for you. Last year, we also served kids from 31 American states and U.S. territories. So as far away as Maine, we kids from some of the American territories in the Pacific Ocean, and then we do serve international kids as well.
And that's because of the exclusive specialties that you've got at the hospital,
Yes.
correct?
And typically what it is it's a doctor who knows we have a doctor who does X. And some of the things are so rare. We have a kid who has osteogenesis imperfecta, but he's also one of only 48 kids with another rare condition. We have a doctor who can treat that. So that child is coming to us because we're the place that they're going to get the care that they really need.
And Lindsay, I know when we were talking earlier, you said that Taylor has she's one of two?
She had a rare brain infection at 18 months. She's the second kid in the nation. Not the way we wanted to be published, but she is in the medical journal. She had it will come back to me.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Most of us aren't going to understand it
long
anyhow,
names.
so it's
I
fine,
know,
right?
the actual. But yeah, the rare brain infection, there's 14 adult cases, 2 children cases now. And the weird part is the other child was 2 weeks ahead of Taylor in Texas. No relation, nothing. So it was, yeah.
What a coincidence, right?
They actually, I don't know if you want me.
Sure.
They actually took both their EVDs, which are external ventricular drains, and fingerprinted them to see if it was from the manufacturer, just because it was such a rare thing.
Unusual circumstance.
Yes, yeah.
Amazing.
But she's also her hydrocephalus is kind of on the rare side too. 25 brain surgeries by 7 is quite a bit. Yeah.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
And here she is sitting with us today. One of the key questions people always want to know about our featured organization is one of the things that we emphasize through the studio and the organizations as well is collaboration. You are everywhere. Share a little bit what collaboration looks like from Shriner's perspective.
It's a great question because the collaboration is embedded in our organization in a variety of ways. I think one of the fascinating things is our being here in Sacramento started with a collaboration with UC Davis because we needed a new place to build a new hospital that was multidisciplinary. We needed to more closely align with our teaching our teaching partner, and the Bay Area candidates just weren't able to accommodate the land sale. UC Davis had the old former state fairgrounds. They had land. They were willing to sell us the land, and they were looking themselves to rise above what had been the county hospital reputation. And so we were able to bring our specialties, and we're able to focus our specialties on what we do. They're not duplicating us. But we, across the street, are always working together. Not only do our docs serve on their faculty at the School of Medicine, but there are times we're able to buy time from their docs to do things that we don't have the expertise for, cardiothoracic surgery, for instance. But when you look at, like, for instance, long-term family housing, Ronald McDonald House Charities is on the UC Davis campus. They dedicate a certain number of rooms for our family so that the kids that can't go home because they have to be here but don't need to be in a nursing bed, they've got a home away from home. Sacramento Food and Family Services, they also help some of those long-term families with care and services. Our schoolroom, we are a Sacramento Unified School District classroom in the larger district, so our kids who are enrolled in school are actually going to school. And then within our own system of the hospitals, all of our emotion analysis centers, there are 14 in the system of Shriners Children's, they're all collaborating so we can build a bigger database to really understand how motion analysis influences better decision-making about cerebral palsy care and ensures better outcomes. So it feels like on a regular basis, we're looking for other people that can work with us because it extends the knowledge base, and it also extends the verification that you're onto something that is really going to be beneficial for everybody. We're not working in a silo. And then, of course, research that goes without saying. It may be true in your lab, but is it true, say, in a lab in Czechoslovakia?
Well, and what a resource you are for the organizations that happen to be here because you happen to be here. And, whether it's Spina Bifida or if it's UCP, I mean, I know there's this incredible collaboration with their clientele.
Yes.
And, I'm looking at Taylor and hearing impaired. We have great hearing organizations here, just so many different opportunities to engage Shriners with their clientele, with other organizations in the community. And Ronald McDonald House and
you raise a really good point that I failed to mention, and I should have. Part of our collaboration is solving problems for primary care physicians, pediatricians, and healthcare organizations that don't see this every day. And then where am I going to send, how do I help this child get what he or she needs? We're not just easy access because it's only a medical condition and age of child, that's the consideration, but we're not, specific to a network. So we're able to sort of help healthcare decision-making throughout the region and make specialty care available that otherwise people may be reluctant to send or they're not confident. We can give a pediatrician confidence that they're going to get what they need.
Well, and another thing is, as a children's hospital specifically focused on children, sitting amongst what is now Aggie Square, with who knew that was going to be like that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now we have one of the biggest research facilities being built right around your hospital.
Yes. So we're looking forward to opportunities to collaborate on research there. The School of Medicine located behind our hospital after we had built. And again, it facilitates one of the most important parts of education for physicians is if you're going to be a specialist, your introduction is the education process. When you're doing rounding, that's when you discover, I don't want to be just a general MD. I want to focus on hands, or I want to focus on kids with cerebral palsy or burns. That's ignited during the education process. So having that access not only ensures that there's always great talent for us, but there's great talent throughout the nation.
And one of one here.
Yeah.
Which is it's just a beautiful thing. What a fortuitous for somebody who has a child with that necessity for care to have the access, not have to be driving or flying to access it. It's a drive. Research, clinical access, changing healthcare expense, which we know is incredibly dynamic right now. It all affects budgeting. How is the operation funded?
Great question. So I'm going to try to do this in 25 words or less, which is always difficult for me. We are unique as an organization in that we operate on a fixed annual budget. And we are able to basically come up with a fixed annual budget because there's a sort of not finite number, but there are patterns that we identify in terms of kids and in the marketplace that we're in. We're a $112 million organization. Roughly 25 to 30% of that is covered by insurance revenue we capture from families. So if they have an insurance plan, we can go to the insurance company and get what they would reimburse. Again, it's not a family obligation, but the insurance that they will pay. And
I'm so glad you said that too, because I think a lot of people just maybe don't engage because I don't have any insurance. I don't know. Yes, do, whether you do or don't.
Right.
Engage.
Insurance is not a decision-making criteria, but if you have insurance, it's a help.
Yes.
And then the money that we raise, so my team in philanthropy, we're always trying to get the community as excited about it as we are to make voluntary contributions. And then estate gifts is another 25 to 30%.
Wow.
And then the rest will come from the endowment fund, which was funded by Shriners from the 20s on through the 60s. People talk about three-legged stools. It really is a three-legged stool that funds the organization. I will say what's great is the community has been generous. Insurance has helped safeguard that endowment, and the endowment has, had strong performance. So in my tenure there, we've gone from being 34 million to 112 million. And one of the things that we do recognize, you talk about change, is that there's a retrenchment in pediatric healthcare. There are programs that are closing, and so the need for our services is growing. So we are looking at over the next year, we're going to need to respond to what could be a 20% increase in demand for our services, which is what we should do. That's why people give us money. But it is going to mean that we need to be really assertive about fundraising in the community because, again, it's not about us. It's those kids. Without us, they're not going to get what they need. And so that's why we do the fundraising.
Mm-hmm. Lindsay, did you have insurance as well?
We have insurance, but I have to say the first phone call I got, the first question wasn't, what's your insurance? Where you get everywhere else. I've never was really asked what our insurance was, to be honest. And we do have a copay, but I've never received a bill. It was an amazing experience, to be honest. We, at a different hospital for a different thing, we at one point received a $100,000 bill because they no longer took our insurance and didn't tell us. And they didn't care. So going to Shriners, it was eye-opening for us and quite an experience.
And I think that's important for everybody to hear, too, because I've heard the same. Shriners accepts the patient. It's the human first. We'll deal with the rest secondarily. That's the incremental stuff. That's not the important stuff. It's getting the patient right first and the family right.
Yes.
And the access that you've got to the Ronald McDonald House and the ease that all of that can help along the burden for the families is so significant.
Especially in an emergency situation, or that shouldn't be your first question. It should be, what does the child need?
Right.
And Shriners definitely did that for us.
Yeah. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Alan, how many people do you employ?
So we're close to 600 people total.
Just here in Sacramento?
Just here in Sacramento.
Wow.
And that's because if you're sort of talking about a 24/7 facility which has a critical care unit, a PICU unit, plus you've got medical surgical, and then associated with it, you've got sterile processing to make sure surgery is ready the next day. You've got engineering. So each head in bed, if you're going to use that term, if I use that term, represents 3 shifts of people who have to help support that child in nursing. So that it's a lot of people, but in the building on any given day, there's about 300 people, on any sort of given shift. But you have to have people to cover 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And they do everything from, we've got the most amazing environmental services team who keep the place not just clean, but keep it, infection free. We have engineers who can fix just about anything and are really on the front lines of keeping everything operational and safe. Then you've got our front reception who are security, and I'm doing my finger quotes, but they really are the first greeters. So, they're security, and they can do what needs to be done to keep the building safe, but more importantly, they put a big smile on it and say, welcome.
And I was just going to say, as a parent of a child who has had care there and continuing care, how is that when you walk in?
So it's funny you say that. We are friends with 2 of the security or front desk people. They know us and wave to us. They're always happy to see us. Even our first time, very welcoming.
They're the best people in the world.
Yeah, they are.
Are the doctors employees?
Yes.
They are. Okay.
Yes. But so again, this sounds like I'm hedging. Because we have an affiliation with UC Davis and based on their practice, some docs are 100% Shriners. Some docs have a split practice between UC Davis and Shriners, and then there are some doctors whose time we buy on a contract basis from UC Davis, like the cardiothoracic surgeon. Like our burn team covers adults at UC Davis and kids at Shriners.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So they do both sides. We have a trauma doc, Dr. Haas, who has a joint preservation program in our sports medicine program, but he's also the trauma surgeon at UC Davis in the peds. So some of their appointments could be 80 us, 20 them, 80 them, 20 us. It really depends. So it's sort of a matrix. But at the end of the day, what they're really focused on is their practice at Shriners. So that's, I think, what makes us unique is their specialty. If it's their specialty, it is focused at Shriners Children's Northern California.
And when you do those reciprocal doctor sharing services, are those fee for service as well?
Some of them are, but
Okay.
fee for service meaning we're paying paying UC Davis Health for the time of the physician.
I was thinking vice versa too. When
Yeah.
your doctors go over, they pay you for
Yeah.
the. Okay. So it does fit into some of that fundraising capacity building element. We'll be back to hear more from our very special guests, including Taylor, right after this message from those who make this program possible.
We are really excited to be part of the family and contribute to the work that you all are doing. CORE provides fractional and interim executive services, along with comprehensive back office solutions that go into our client sites and do the work to give them the capacity they need in order to move through transitions, whether that's planned or unplanned. Or companies also work with our accounting and finance, back office solutions, human resources, technology, and administration. The reason why our back office solutions add value is because we save them time and money, anywhere from 20 to 30% of what they would spend on that back office solution. We work in it so they can actually work on it. CXORE.com and contact me directly at DTEAT@CXORE.com.
If you're interested in learning more about how CORE may help your organization, visit CXORE.com.
Hello, this is Scott Thomas with Cap Trust in our Sacramento office. I specialize in working with local nonprofits and associations. Annually, we survey private and public nonprofit organizations across the country to better understand challenges they see in today's environment. In our more recent survey, we heard concerns about proper board governance, mission-aligned investment, and how to implement alternative investments. If you would like a copy of the survey or to discuss your organization, look me up, Scott Thomas at captrust.com.
At Western Health Advantage, healthcare isn't just a service. It's a shared value. As a nonprofit leader, you need a health plan that understands the importance of mission-driven work. Western Health Advantage is a local, not-for-profit health plan that supports organizations like yours with affordable, flexible coverage options for your team. But what truly sets them apart is their commitment to community, supporting nonprofits like the American Heart Association, Sacramento Ballet, and the Crocker Art Museum's Pay What You Wish Sundays. With access to top-tier providers and dedicated local support, Western Health Advantage is more than a health plan. It's a partner in your purpose. Explore your options today at westernhealth.com. Western Health Advantage, healthcare with heart, designed for those who give back. Looking at the overall funding of the operation and knowing that we have this standalone facility and you know better than anybody in the room what goes on in the hospital, if somebody came and said, Alan, we got a blank check.
I love this question.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this
So
question.
many people love this question. And it gives potential donors a perspective too. What would it look like? What would it look like if somebody says, this check is for you, it's blank, but I want to hear what you're going to do with it, and if I agree, you get it. What would it look like?
So if we got a blank check, knowing what we just talked about, what's happening in pediatric healthcare, knowing that access is becoming the biggest issue, and particularly for patients who are farther afield, I think it would be great to open unlimited access points throughout the state of California. How big unlimited is could be across the United States, where we basically take on those specialties that we do best, freeing up pediatric healthcare and other organizations to focus on other things. In essence, taking the burden off healthcare and allowing Shriners to do in pediatric orthopedics, pediatric burns, cleft lip, cleft palate, everything families need wherever they happen to be, as close as we can get to them. And they don't have to worry about the finances associated with that. And healthcare doesn't have to either, because now they can focus on things that have other resource-intensive needs. If you are a provider of pediatric cancer care, that is its own heavy burden. If you're pediatric heart, there are other things that kids suffer with. What a beautiful thing to be able to say, your blank check has allowed us to basically treat every child that needs us, give them the same easy access. And at the end of the day, what you are doing is giving them unlimited potential in life. So it isn't the healthcare. It's the fact that our wraparound focus, we're focusing on the child, not the condition. At the end, by the time they graduate from Shriners, they're on a pathway to being who they want to be when they grow up. And that's ultimately what we're all about.
And I think we don't want to miss that opportunity for our next president, our next
Right.
governor,
Absolutely.
our next, you name it. Because
next entrepreneur.
we don't know what these children are capable of. And Lindsay, I'm going to look at you now because this is the opportunity to really share. You have had a very threatening situation. And who knew at birth or 2 years or 3 years, by 7, you said 25 brain surgeries, what Taylor's future looked like. Yet we're sitting here with Taylor in a studio recording a podcast with this beautiful young lady with her twin sister in the back. And we're going to get to talk to you in just a minute. So, Lindsay, how is she doing today?
Well, I have to say, at first, when she was born, we were actually told she never walk, talk, or have quality of life. So, again, look at her now.
Mm-hmm.
But her stroke was a huge setback. Again, we walked into Shriners not knowing Shriners at all, and we were welcomed. I actually consider Shriners as part of our family now. Her therapist, again, they helped her walk. They even took it. They knew she was going to be in a wedding. She had just started to take a few steps, and her therapist knew she was going to be in a wedding. We call her Auntie, wedding as a flower girl. And they created a way to tie her basket to her because she can't use her right hand, and was able to throw the petals. And she did it in therapy. Everyone was crying that day. But after therapy, her foot was curved, and she actually just recently in March had surgery.
That's only since March?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. I never would have known.
Yeah. So in March,
You're going to be running track, aren't you?
she actually is in track and field in the Special Olympics. Yes.
How
she
awesome.
loves it. But Alan, you mentioned the motion analysis clinic or lab.
Yeah.
We had no clue about it until Shriners. There was a doctor in the past before we went to Shriners. They're like, oh, we'll just go in and do surgery. But you don't know what's wrong. So we were able to take advantage of the motion analysis lab, and they knew exactly what they were going in to do to fix and help her. They even did one more study right before surgery just to double check everything, and they added a couple more things to her surgery. The stroke, I think I said, curved her foot, so now her foot is flat. She can walk without twisting her ankle, without the brace as well. And Dr. Kulkarni also told her next we're going to work on her hand of possibly getting some motion back. And that has changed her world. She is so happy about it. And she asks every day, when are we going to go see him?
Most children don't want to ask when they're going to go see their doctor.
I know.
Right?
Oh, she loves him. But he gave her life back.
Yeah.
Truly. She's starting to run again without twisting an ankle, which is amazing. And then we're excited to see what he's going to do next for her and her hand.
So, Taylor, so how do you feel about Shriners Hospital?
It's been amazing on it. I've been pretty good. And then I don't know what to say anything else.
How do you like your doctor?
Yeah.
He's good?
Yeah.
And what grade are you in now?
5th.
Awesome. So you're a 5th grader.
Yeah.
10 years old.
My sister back here is 5th grader too.
Wow.
Awesome. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are you looking forward to pretty soon? Don't you have something that you're going to be doing? Like a little vacation?
Yeah. Me and my family. Not my dad, because he's not a good traveler at all. Funny. We are going to the Bahamas. It's gonna be so much fun.
Good.
Fun.
Good for you. Just make sure you wear a lot of sunblock.
Yes.
Okay. Alan, now that we look at the conversation we just had from a standpoint of, boy, that great big check, what's the greatest need?
Greatest need for us right now and always is general operations funding. It's the funding that scares a lot of people because they feel like it goes into, quote unquote, a black hole, or they worry about administrative overhead and costs. And the only way that I can explain it is that when you're talking about healthcare for kids, you're talking about Dr. Kulkarni, you're talking about the Motion Analysis Center, everything we do comes out of one budget. We are a single budget organization. We've got cost centers, certainly. But when someone gives us $100, basically $85 of that $100 goes directly into patient care related direct support. And the overhead figures that are in part of that include things like access, where we're advertising to make families comfortable with the fact that they've been referred to Shriners. So overhead isn't always overhead the way people think about it. So that gift, if you looked at the average burn cost us $180,000. That's an average burn. It's like $10,000 to $40,000 depending on the condition for a child in the ICU. But a gift of $15 can cover a family's meal who needs the meal while they're there with their child. So whatever people can give, it's actually going to go to something remarkable because it's going to a future of hope for a child. And like I said, general operations tends to make people squeamish.
Because those are the unrestricted funds, and we're not quite sure what you're going to do with them.
How are you really doing that?
Right.
And we don't have, our doctors don't make as much as they would in private, but we have to pay them well. But they are dedicated 120% to what they're doing for kids. And so they're worth every penny. And we don't have otherwise super high paid people. The reality is it goes into providing a scope of care that you don't find in other places. And that's really the unrestricted dollars allow us to say, we can make sure that there's a therapeutic recreation specialist who's attending to every child. Every physician will have a nurse practitioner. We can give them prosthetics if they need it. We can give them orthotic braces. Whatever that child needs, they're going to get. And that's what the benefit is of those unrestricted dollars. If people are interested in restricted donations, those are possible. But really, we're tasked this year we want to be raising close to $9 million in unrestricted dollars that will go directly into what we're doing for kids. So it's hard. It's a hard message.
And especially when you think, if you can't see it, if you don't understand it, if you think it's just going to an administration piece, that's so far from the truth, especially when you talk about prosthetics. There's families that can't afford that. The insurance doesn't cover it. But that child could be fully mobile or fully functional if they had the ability to just get that prosthetic piece, whatever it may be.
And that's the magic of Shriners. We had a special visit yesterday from a prospective donor, and I used the word magic. I said, I probably shouldn't use that word. She goes, I love that word. What's great is we can give you a prosthetic limb, but we're not giving you a prosthetic limb. We're asking you first, what is it you want to do? So if you want to run, if you want to play the violin, if you want to swim, play softball. So again, everything is focused on what is the child capable of? What is it they want to do long term? Where do we think they're going to go? So you're funding the ability to be as flexible as possible to meet what that kid needs, where they're at now and where they want to be in the future. And so that's the benefit to the unrestricted dollars. And I think, generally speaking, whether you're supporting our organization or not, I want, all of your listeners and anyone, become comfortable with Charity Navigator. Check out Charities, because unrestricted dollars are great for all charitable organizations, because so often the things that come in with restrictions mean there are things you can't do, but you would love to be able to do, but you can't because of those boundaries. And I'm not saying restricted gifts are bad, but begin to fall in love with what is capable for organizations across this country if they get unrestricted dollars.
And we do hear that frequently, because you can't run the organization without that unrestricted piece.
You can't. And if you have a new idea, you only fund new ideas with unrestricted dollars.
Correct.
And the expectation should be that nonprofit it's a new idea that's going to build the capacity or better serve who it is you're going to do. Because everything that you say we're going to do now, there's like kids now with burns would not have survived in times before. Unrestricted dollars that help fund research made that possible. Now kids with 90% burns are surviving. Technology changes. We may need to tweak things in the building that we need unrestricted dollars to be able to do. So that's our biggest challenge. And you can help us with that. Make that sexy. Help people understand unrestricted dollars does not mean play money. It just means means mission
Functional.
money.
It's functional
Function
money, yes. And it allows children, not unlike Taylor, to grow with capability comes confidence. So now they're into the school system and they're functioning as every other child would because they aren't seen as something uniquely different. They are still very unique children, but they can do things that other kids can do. And that's an acceptance. Regardless of the level, it still gives them that confidence as they continue to grow and get older. And Lindsay, I'm looking at you because you're going to see this. You've seen it over the course of the last 3 years for sure as her surgeries have settled down a bit. What do you see for Taylor and what does Taylor want to do?
So right now, actually, she is dancing again. She's in 2 dance classes. She was not able to do that before Shriners. She does a solo as well. She's also a one-handed drummer. She does track and field in the Special Olympics. She does bocce. She's got quite an arm. She actually wants to ultimately be a police officer. That is her dream.
Wow.
And the police have been great bringing her into the station and showing her things. But she wants to keep up with her sisters. That's the biggest thing. Shriners actually had a bike fit program. Taylor was invited to participate in it. And we used to not let our kids ride bikes. We felt bad, but she couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
With Shriners, we can ride bikes now.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that changed her world. The small things you don't think about, she's able to do now.
That every kid does and gets to
Exactly.
experience.
My kids can ride bikes now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because she was given the opportunity.
And those are the stories that always get me too, where a parent tells you that their child was astonished after their surgery and they looked down in the bed and they saw their feet for the first time laying down because before the surgery it was so cramped up they couldn't see. Going upstairs one step at a time, being able to drive. I mean, it sounds sort of small, but it's huge because before that, it took extra effort to do everything, and that's taken away. The fact that with our plastic surgeons, the young ladies and young gentlemen, but young ladies particularly, can choose the order of their plastic surgery and can really address the shape of the lips, the shape of the eyes, if there's been facial scarring. The fact that our orthotists will build burn garments that look almost like sports bras and sports shorts so that young ladies changing in a locker room don't look like they're wearing a burn garment. It looks like they're just wearing something that's kind of trendy, and they'll sometimes do the school colors. These are the sorts of things that help kids be the kids, and they don't feel like they're the outsiders in their communities. And to your point earlier, it gives them the confidence then to continue to strive forward and do things.
And back to a little bit of the prior conversation, some of that stuff's coming from unrestricted funds.
It is, exactly.
It's not coming because it was a restricted donation.
Yes.
You can't do that otherwise.
Yes.
And that's amazing. I had no idea that to the extent of, garments for burns and helping somebody feel normal in it, as opposed to, I've got this strange contraption that I have to wear. Mm-hmm. And even looking at the brace that's on Taylor's leg, who would know?
It's all custom as well, and they make changes every time right then and there for her. Even like to comfort. She, every kid's different, so she has specialized padding just for her.
So I was in the motion analysis lab yesterday, but I was also in POPS, and they were showing a brace.
And POPS is
our prosthetics and orthotics, our pediatric orthotics and prosthetic services.
Very good. Thank you.
It's terrible in healthcare. We just throw out these slogans. But they were building a brace. There's a child who is in the process of working through spina bifida. And one of the issues they have right now while they're working on rehab is that the foot is curved. They often sort of don't have feeling. So they were custom building the brace so that they wouldn't develop pressure sores, but were getting what they needed in terms of the stiffness to aid with the walking. But they were taking the time to literally sit with the child and carve out where the holes needed to be. And it was beautiful to watch, but it was also humbling because that's how much time they're taking with each one of our patients. And the care, they're encouraged to do that. It's part of what they're allowed and permitted to do at work.
And while we applaud and acknowledge and love the work that these doctors are doing. The other part of it is these children, what they're going through. And every step of the way, not only is it a learning experience for them, but it's just that one step more of, I've accomplished this. I've accomplished this. And it doesn't hurt. Or it does hurt. This is where it hurts and it gets fixed. And they realize, I'm going to be okay. And I think that's the greatest gift that comes out of all of this is the acceptance and the normalcy of it all. And the children get to be the children they're meant to be.
And one of the things that I'm not trying to beat the drum too on unrestricted donations, but we have a transitions program that starts at age 12 with kids who have lifelong conditions or kids who they are going to need to be the CEOs of their lives, but also their healthcare decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And we begin that process at 12, where you're helping them build the confidence to seek the providers that will continue to enhance them even as adults. Because things that we've done so well, kids with spina bifida had a capitated lifespan. Now they're living into adulthood. Well, medicine hasn't necessarily trained a lot of primary care physicians to deal with that. So they often don't know. So it winds up being the patient who has to sort of inform the doctor and kind of be not just their own expert, but be assertive. So that again is built into our overarching program. You get enrolled into the transitions program. We just had a Pathways to Possibilities event on September 20th where we brought in different organizations that can be resources for these young people when they become adults, including financial literacy. So again, it's the goal is they're going to be adults. We want them to be successful adults.
And they will be more self-advocates than we are because we tend to do that badly. And we don't address our needs and get sick, and sometimes it's too late. You should have taken care of that sooner or whatever it might have been. They know. These children know to always be addressing it, and they're aware of it. There's a lot more self-awareness and I think physical abilities than most children. I'm going to put you on the spot just for a second here before we wrap. You, 18 years at Shriners, dealing with children with all sorts of disabilities and trauma is a heavy load. And you're out there telling the story all day long to potential donors and people that we'd like to see involved in the hospital. How do you let some of that go when you get home?
That's a great question. I'm fortunate to have a great family. So my wife is absolutely wonderful, and we laugh a lot together. Sometimes it's just the idiosyncrasies of the world, and so family and friends are great. I am a runner. 3 days a week, you will find me pounding the pavement in Sacramento. And then 3 days a week, you'll find me in the gym on the alternating days. And I do a boot camp on Monday, which is always brutal, and I hate it, but it's always good. So the physicality of that does help sort of release some of what can be built up. And the exercises I can do anywhere. So if I'm on a trip visiting donors, I can, do it if I'm in New York City, Austin, wherever. But I would say I'm inspired at the same time every day. And so a lot of times I tap into the fact that as difficult sometimes as my day can be, what the kids and the families are what their endurance requirement is, it far exceeds anything I'm facing. And so I really do find so much inspiration out of the encounters I have with wonderful families, kids you see in the elevator. There was a young boy as I was going out to the garage today who was, basically zipping past me in his wheelchair to hit the button to the doors. And he was fast and so excited. And I'm like, you rock. So there's some of that. But, nature, beauty, other people, I really try to just relish the fact that all together, we're all trying to do great things.
And that's a great reset. That's exactly what I think a lot of people want to hear. Hey, it's just a reset. I go back and I do my thing. And it's wonderful because when you sit across from a child like Taylor and you see, the miracle of her abilities today from what could have been, and it's just amazing. I want to go to Bahamas with you too.
Yes.
What's the best way to learn more about the organization?
So the website, shrinerschildrens.org/Sacramento. And one of the great things you can do if you go to that website is you can find a phone number. And if you want to visit the hospital, give us a call. We'd be happy to take you on a tour.
And it goes both ways for parents maybe with a child that might need some special care and or somebody interested in just learning more about the hospital.
So that's the most important message, aside from the fact that unrestricted dollars are great, is the only reason we're raising money is to treat kids.
Yes.
And one of the things that people are so accustomed to is healthcare is hurdles. It is literally simple to reach out to Shriners Children's Northern California if you have a child that you think would be eligible for care. The website has a easy click-on button to get into to self-refer. Parents self-refer. Grandparents will refer their grandchildren. Then we have to work with the parents. But anyone can basically reach out and say, my child could use your help. So the website, it's a referral tool. You can learn about events, but you can also learn about our specialties. But we also coming to visit the hospital is a great way to see us, because one of the things you notice is that it doesn't feel like a hospital and the people in it don't behave like they're clinical people. And it makes you, I think, feel very hopeful that this is a place that really is focused on kids. Like it's not just something you see in ads or hear about in terms of slogans. So, yeah, check us out.
Are the events on the website as well?
Yes.
Okay, and I know that you do an annual event that is a toy drive, and it is a massive.
It's massive. Euro
project.
Sundays, yes. So Euro Sunday, you're familiar with Euro Sunday.
Yes, Euro Sunday, for the benefit of those who don't, it's European cars, and it's a lot of guys who have those types of cars, Ferraris and Lamborghinis and all sorts of vehicles of European heritage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Porsches, Volkswagens. So on the first Sunday of the month in the Sacramento area, coincides with CAM every year, which is the local last Boston qualifying marathon. But from 8 to noon, the car clubs of Sacramento and anybody who drives a vehicle and wants to participate, they drive up, they donate a toy to the hospital, they get their picture taken, providing the toy to the Merry Elves. We have a finish line, there's lots of music. Last year it was generated 16,000 toys for the hospital, which then are used throughout the year. So they're used as birthday gifts for kids in the hospital. They're used as incentives for difficult procedures, and then they're used oftentimes in clinic to encourage kids. But it's massive. It's about $10,000, and it's money that people give spontaneously because it really is a toy drive, but it also is a fundraiser. But the spirit is amazing. You get like 400 cars of all shapes and sizes. The biggest club is the Volkswagen Club.
When a good friend of mine has a blue and white bus who loads that bus. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
That bus is loaded to the max because he's a hairdresser, and everybody gets their hair cut by him, brings gifts to load the bus for this event. And it is amazing what you see in the pictures and the toys and everything that goes on for that event.
This year, we're giving them a special place where they're going to be able to unload, so we can feature it, we can take pictures, and also it gives them time to enjoy it versus trying to get everything out of the bus all at once.
Yeah.
Nilo, the Nilo company, whose signature auto dealers in this area are wonderful. They're doing a toy drive for us as we speak, which is really remarkable. We saw that at their Concord this past weekend, and but this is the spirit that really helps us do what we do, because again, at the end of the day, we're a children's hospital. Toys and kids, they go together.
Mm-hmm. And they should.
So one other event is the Thursday before the Sunday. We're doing our Gift of Care tree lighting.
And so this is every year. That Thursday before the Sunday of the toy drive is okay.
So we have trees in the lobby, the holiday trees. 4 of the trees are dedicated to patients. They're decorated to reflect the patient's interests. The children are there to tell their stories to the people who come to the event, and then they get to light their tree. It is open. There's no fee. There's no requirement to make a gift. If you want to hear from patients directly about what Shriners has done for them, come to the tree lighting. It's from 6:30 to 8:30 in the first floor lobby of the hospital. We've got hot chocolate and treats. We do sing some carols. You don't have to sing, but it gets the holidays going, and more importantly, it's a time to be thankful for what people have made possible for kids, and we're thankful, more importantly, for what kids have been able to do for themselves.
Lindsay, anything in closing that you want to say?
So Taylor is actually part of that this year. So
Oh,
I'm very
that's awesome.
excited. She just
And this year is
picked-
2025. This episode would be listened to all throughout 26 as
Yes.
well. But as we're talking,
Yeah, so she is getting a tree this year. She's very excited. We still don't know what to expect, but we know it's going to be amazing. But on the toys, there was a time that her sisters came with us to an appointment, and they offered even the sisters a toy because you don't realize what they're also going through. It's hard seeing their sibling suffer at times. So for all three of them, they were just shocked and so happy. And after her surgery, her foot surgery recently, there was a huge bag waiting on her bed for her. And I think she forgot she had surgery. She was so excited for that and opened it and then FaceTimed her sisters showing them. It just puts a smile on their face.
it was so cute seeing them both in the lobby with the cell phone. And just think, these are 10-year-old little girls doing pictures and FaceTime and
Oh, yes.
playing around, right? And you probably fight with each other sometimes too, huh?
Yeah.
Alan, Lindsay, stories like this are what make us recognize the humanity in everything. And it's not about anything other than helping that child live a normal life as best as we possibly can through the great work of the doctors that you've got at the hospital. So to you and your team, and Lindsay, to the work that you're doing with your daughter and what she's doing for the hospital as an exemplary person with what she's talking about and sharing. And you mentioned she's presenting at some other schools and on stage, and
Oh, yes.
just what a wonderful situation to be able to share with so many, to say this is what this means.
I think it gives hope to families as well. Like, I'm a normal person that went through this, and there's people out there for us, hospitals out there for us.
And hope is the biggest thing. We want people to know that opportunity exists. They just have to find it.
Yes.
And it exists. It exists with Shriners. So Alan, thank you to your team of doctors, to the people in the administration side of that with those unrestricted funds, to everybody that makes that organization work. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Lindsay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Taylor, thank you. Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. We hope today's episode inspired you and gave you a deeper look into the work of our local nonprofits. If you believe in our mission to amplify their voices, please take a moment to leave us a positive review and share this episode with a friend. It helps more people discover the incredible work happening in our community. Don't miss future episodes. Subscribe to our weekly updates and monthly newsletter at nonprofpod.com. And if you're part of a nonprofit that would like to be featured, we'd love to hear from you. Just visit the guest tab on our website. The Nonprofit Podcast Network is recorded and produced at Hear Me Now Studio with generous support from our founding partners, CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations serving Sacramento, Roseville, and Folsom, and online at captrust.com. And Western Health Advantage, local care, community impact. Find the plan that fits at westernhealth.com. And to our newest partner, CORE, interim and fractional executive leadership, comprehensive back office support services. We work in it so you can work on it. Visit cxore.com.